My car wasn't just a machine. It was 4 years of sacrifice sitting in my driveway. Every late shift, every skipped vacation, every time I told myself, not yet. It all led to that moment when I finally held the keys in my hand. I remember just standing there staring at it like it wasn't real. Like if I blinked too hard, it might disappear. That car meant something. It was proof that I could actually follow through on something big. And maybe that's why what happened next hit harder than I ever expected. Because the truth is, from the very first day I brought it home, something felt off. Not obvious, not loud. Just a quiet tension in the air I couldn't explain at the time. I should have trusted that feeling. I should have paid more attention to the way certain eyes lingered a little too long. But I didn't. And that mistake? It cost me more than just money. The day I brought it home felt unreal in the best way possible. The engine had this deep, controlled rumble that you don't just hear, you feel it in your chest. The paint caught the sunlight perfectly, like it was designed to be admired. And I won't lie, I took the long way through the neighborhood just to enjoy every second of it. When I finally pulled into my driveway, a couple of neighbors were already outside, drawn in by the sound alone. One of them walked over, smiling, asking questions, running his hand just above the surface like he didn't want to risk touching it. Another pulled out his phone, snapping pictures like it was some kind of event. It felt good, not in an arrogant way, just earned. Like all those years of waiting had finally turned into something real. Even the neighborhood itself felt calm, almost picture perfect. Clean sidewalks, trimmed lawns, that quiet sense of order you expect in a place managed by an HOA. At the time, it felt like I had brought my dream into the perfect environment. Looking back now, that's almost ironic. I noticed her the same day, standing just far enough away to pretend she wasn't watching. Mid-50s, perfectly styled hair that didn't move even in the wind, posture stiff like she had something to prove just by standing there. She didn't smile like the others, didn't ask questions, just observed, arms crossed, lips pressed into that thin line people get when they've already decided they don't like something or someone. Later, I found out her name was Rita, one of the HOA board members. Though the way people spoke about her, you'd think she ran the entire place. The kind of person who treats guidelines like personal commandments. It didn't take long for her to make her stance clear. The next morning, as I was heading out, she was there again, this time close enough to speak. She glanced at the car, then at me, and said, almost casually, "That kind of vehicle doesn't really fit the community aesthetic." No greeting, no introduction. Just judgment. I laughed it off at the time, thinking it was one of those harmless opinions people throw around. But the way she looked at me afterward, it wasn't harmless. It felt like a warning. At first, it was small things. A comment here, a look there, nothing direct enough to take seriously. But within a few days, Rita made it official. She showed up at my door with a clipboard, like she was conducting some kind of inspection, and started listing complaints in that calm, controlled tone that somehow made everything sound more irritating. The car was too loud. It disrupted the peace. It didn't align with the neighborhood's image. I stood there, half confused, half amused, waiting for her to get to the part where she was joking. She never did. Instead, she told me I should consider replacing it with something more appropriate. That was the word she used. Appropriate. I remember asking her straight up if there was any rule I was breaking. She paused just for a second, then shifted into something vague about community standards and expectations. That didn't sit right with me, so I went inside, pulled up the HOA bylaws, and read every line myself. Twice. There was nothing, no restriction on vehicles, no noise violations, and I was even close to crossing. I was fully within my rights, but that didn't stop her. The visits continued, each one a little more pointed than the last, like she was trying to wear me down instead of proving anything. And then, just like that, it stopped. No more knocks on my door, no more side comments as I pulled into the driveway, no more clipboard patrols pretending to be routine checks. Rita disappeared from the picture so completely that it almost felt unnatural. At first, I didn't question it. I figured she finally realized she didn't have anything to stand on and decided to move on. Life slipped back into that same calm rhythm it had before. The neighbors were still friendly, the street still quiet, and my car sat exactly where it always had, untouched and perfectly fine. But there was something about that sudden silence that didn't sit right with me. It wasn't relief. It was more like a pause, the kind that comes right before something shifts, in a way you can't undo. I remember thinking, briefly, that it was strange how quickly everything went back to normal. I should have trusted that instinct, because that silence wasn't peace. It was preparation. I didn't even realize something was wrong until I stepped outside that evening. At first glance, everything looked normal, like any other day on my street. The same quiet houses, the same still air. But then I saw my car, and my stomach dropped instantly. It didn't look like my car anymore. The first thing I noticed was the red spray paint across the rear panel, thick and aggressive, like someone had taken their time making sure I would see it clearly. Then my eyes moved lower. All 4 tires were completely flat, not just deflated, but destroyed, the rims sinking into the ground like the car had been forced to its knees. I walked closer without even thinking, my steps slower with every inch, until I saw the side mirrors. Both of them were snapped clean off, hanging loose or missing entirely. My heartbeat felt louder than anything else around me. I remember just standing there for a second, trying to convince myself I wasn't seeing it right, that maybe this was some kind of cruel mistake or prank. But the more I looked, the more real it became. And then I saw the words painted across the back window, bold and deliberate. That's when the anger hit. Not slowly, not in waves, but all at once. I didn't even waste time calling anyone at first. I just turned around and went straight back inside, my hands shaking more from anger than anything else. The moment I shut the door, I headed for my laptop and pulled up the security footage. Every second of it felt heavier than the last as I scrubbed back through the timeline. And then I saw her. Rita. At first, she looked cautious, almost careful, like she knew she was crossing a line. Hoodie pulled up, gloves on, scanning the street before stepping closer. But what she didn't realize was that every angle was covered. She moved into full view of the camera without even noticing it. And that's when she started. The spray paint came first, quick and deliberate. Then the tires, then the mirrors, no hesitation, just pure intention. And right before she walked away, she turned slightly toward the camera and flipped it off. That small gesture said everything. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen, feeling something shift inside me. The anger was still there, but now it had direction. This wasn't just damage anymore. It was proof, real, undeniable proof. And for the first time since I saw my car, I wasn't just reacting. I was planning. The next morning, I didn't act a morning. I called my lawyer, and the moment I played him the footage, his entire expression changed. No jokes, no small talk, just a slow lean back in his chair and a quiet, "Yeah, she's done." That's when everything shifted from emotion to structure. We started documenting everything, every frame of video, every detail of damage, every cost tied to the repair. It stopped being about anger and started becoming a case. Meanwhile, word started spreading in the neighborhood. Jake saw the footage and didn't even hesitate. He told me we were bringing it to the next HOA meeting, and that's exactly what we did. A few days later, we stood in a packed room while the screen behind us lit up with undeniable proof. The same footage, the same moments, played out in front of every homeowner and every board member. The room went from quiet curiosity to full shock in seconds. People whispered, heads turned, and for the first time, the balance of power in that room wasn't on her side. It wasn't just about what she did anymore. It was about everyone seeing it. And now, there was no way to hide it. Court day felt unreal. Like everything had been building toward this single moment. Rita walked in first, acting confident, almost smug, like she still believed she could talk her way out of it. But that confidence started fading the second the footage played in front of the judge. The room went silent as every action was replayed in detail spray paint, destroyed tires, broken mirrors. When asked if she denied it, she hesitated, then tried to twist the story into protecting neighborhood standards. The judge didn't even let that sit. A short pause, then the verdict came down clear, firm and final. Guilty. And just like that, everything she had built her defense on collapsed in front of everyone. Rita tried to deny everything until the very end, but the evidence didn't leave her anywhere to run. By the time the judge finalized the ruling, there was nothing left of her argument. She was ordered to pay for every bit of damage, plus additional penalties, and was removed from her HOA position immediately. Watching her lose control of the situation she once dominated felt like something finally snapping back into place. I didn't feel loud about it, just calm, like the story had reached its natural ending. Outside the courtroom, everything felt lighter, like I could finally breathe again. The car was gone for repairs, but the weight of what happened wasn't mine to carry anymore. Some people call it revenge, but for me, it was just accountability catching up. If you were in my place, would you have handled it differently or pushed it this far?